So welcome everyone. I am Dr. Chelsea Hagopian and I am representing the Emory Nurses Alumni Association today. I'm really excited because we have a fabulous guest. We are talking to Dr. Kate Kennedy, a fellow nursing alum and a fellow board member with the Emory Nurses Alumni Association. So we're talking about her journey through nursing and innovation and leadership. So hello, Dr. Kennedy. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I love talking with you, and to have some time to talk is fantastic.
Well, thank you. Could you share what class year were you?
Well, I started out at Oxford College, and I was class of 1980. And then I went to Emory Nursing School, and I was class of 82. And then I went to Emory for my master's, and at that time it was a master's in nursing administration, and that was 1990. And then I got my doctorate at MGH in Boston, MGH IHP. So that's me. I love Emory, and when I was at MGH, they're like, "We're just curious why you're flying up here when you could have gone to Emory." And I said, I know I could have, and I love Emory, but I just thought I should get another taste of something else since everything had been Emory. But I worked at Emory as a nurse at the hospital for years, and I absolutely love it. And now I feel like I could not be more fortunate because I was able to connect back through the Alumni Association, and then with the nursing school, and have the opportunity to teach some courses in leadership and quality and safety in both the master's and the DNP program. And it couldn't be better. I think I'm just at the happiest place of my whole life. It's wonderful.
That's fantastic. That's so wonderful to hear. Well, could you share a little bit about your journey through nursing and where you've been, where you started, and kind of how you got to where you are today?
Sure, Chelsea. Well, let's see. I started out in my specialty, clinical specialty was critical care, and worked in a couple of different areas at Emory Hospital. But I've always sort of had the heart of a leader. And so when I went back for my master's, even though I really had not been in a leadership position at that time, I wanted to get a master's in nursing leadership. And I fell deeper in love with leadership at that time, and met some incredible people. One of my professors back then was that? No, well, yeah, I think maybe it was, I can't remember now if that was my BSN or my master's, but I got to meet Tim Porter O'Grady, and we became friends way back then. And then full circle, now he's, a very important mentor in my life. So let's see. So critical care, I enjoyed that. I taught at the nursing school way back then. I just knew that I wanted to teach, and I went to a friend of mine who was a leader at Emory named Nympha Saunders, who is now CEO at Navicent Health in Macon. And I went to her and I told her, I said, "Look, I know you're teaching the finance and budgeting course at Emory in the master's program. If you would let me teach some of your classes, I'll do it for free." And she goes, "Okay." So, so I started teaching with her, and it was fantastic, and I loved it. And she came and sat in on the lectures, and I guess she, gave me the nod. And the next semester, I got to get a little pay for what I was doing. But I think I did that for about 7 years, and worked PRN and that kind of thing. I actually am a nurse who took some time off. I took off about 7 years after that, because it just got complicated with family and trying to feel like I was doing a good job in everything. So I just decided to step back. And it was a great time because actually I had lots of opportunity to practice my leadership. And during that time, in different community opportunities. So then I just knew it was time to get back into nursing, and I met up with Brent Robinson at a Christmas party, and I just told him that I was interested in doing anything that he had. That he was the CNO at DeKalb Medical at the time. I said, if you have any project or anything that you would trust to me, I would love to help in any way. And so before I knew it, he was kind enough to actually come up with a position called Project Coordinator of Nursing in Nursing Administration. And it was absolutely the best job ever because I got to do all these different projects and take them from concept to completion. And I tell people it was like the best resume builder you could imagine, because you start shared governance and you develop the structure, or you start working on the stroke certification. And then a whole team gets to celebrate the being certified as a primary stroke center. And that was a long time ago, when it was first out there. So many great learnings, opportunities for teamwork, and just really rich learning. So after that, I went to Grady, and I was the vice president of critical care services there. So at Grady, there's tons of ICUs and intermediate care and telemetry and rapid response team. It was a huge area to oversee and have the opportunity to lead. And gosh, I learned so much there and absolutely loved it. When I was at Grady, I would come out the door to head to my car at night, and it just seemed like inevitably there'd be the news truck there, somebody standing on the corner with the microphone, and I was like, I am in such a happening place. I mean, I just always thought I am right in the middle of where everything is happening, and I loved it. It was fantastic. And then it was while I was at Grady, I went on to get my doctorate and a few different certifications, and then applied for a CNO position with WellStar. So that was my most recent actual hospital position, was at WellStar Cobb, which is in Austell. So it's kind of, near Six Flags on the north side of the city. But anyway, that was wonderful as well. And I just learned so much. But the thing about leadership, the more you learn, the more you realize the more you need to learn. So it was a great experience. And I ended up deciding that towards the end of, not the end of my career, I feel like it's the beginning, but at that point in my career, I wanted to connect back with what was really in my heart, what was my purpose in my career, what things was I good at, and what strengths could I really build on. And that's when I started my plan to try to get back to the nursing school, which so glad about that. And am I talking too much? Should I wait?
You're fantastic. As I'm listening to you, I hear a few just really, really important messages to students, and being that you continuously reflected and, as far as what is right for you, because what is right for you is right for your patients, is right for, you as a nurse. It's so important, that continuous reflecting and what's in your heart. What do you need right now? Because wherever you go, you are a nurse. So whether you are taking 7 years off from clinical practice, you are still a nurse in all things that you do. And you followed your passion each step of the way. So you focused on learning and listening to your heart rather than worrying, what is my plan for 10 years from now? You're
Uh,
focused on, I want to keep learning and following what I'm passionate about. And I think that's so important for students to hear and alumni to hear, because I think sometimes we get caught up on, what am I going to do 10 years from now? Am I setting all the ducks in a row? And that's such a great thing about nursing, is it's just continuous growth and learning and following your heart.
it really is, Chelsea. And you really cannot plan that way, because you can't see now where, when you get to this next step, what the vision is going to be at that point. You just can't see that far ahead. And things change so quickly, and you change and grow. And I would just really say to students to be open. When an opportunity comes, take it and see where it leads, because you can't see it from where you are. So anyway, I think that's super, super important. I know so many of us are goal driven. We're type A personalities. We're all about achievement and accomplishing the most that we can, which is great. But don't plan too much. Prepare for the opportunity.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic
yeah.
for everyone to hear. And it's all about resilience and responsiveness, and how as a nurse you really have a responsibility to yourself and a responsibility to respond to the current environment. And nurses are so adaptable. And so just continuously learning, continuously growing. I think that this is just so wonderful for everyone to hear.
Thank you, Chelsea. It's really been true in my life. And I really would like to tell you, when I took the break from Wellstar and met with a couple of friends, somehow, and see, I would have never seen this opportunity coming, but somehow we had similar experiences. I felt like I was burned out, just because it's really hard when you're in a CNO position to know how to continue your life, when a CNO position is more of a lifestyle than it is a position. And that's great, but I personally don't think I adapted that well to it, because I ended up working so many hours that by the time I would get home and eat dinner and go to bed, there really wasn't enough hours to sleep, because of course, being goal driven, and I was getting up at 5 so I could get to the gym and do my exercise before I went for the work. And I realized I wasn't taking care of myself at all, because you just can't go forever with 4 and 5 hours of sleep. So that's what it kind of I kind of realized that wasn't a sustainable path that I was on, and I needed to learn more about how to balance things, how to take care of myself, and still how to fulfill the passion that I have for leadership and for nursing and for patients. So I got together with my two friends, Lucy LeClaire, she had worked on my team at Cobb, and she's just an incredible leader and a brilliant person. And then I worked with Susan Campus, who was someone that I had known for years, and she was sort of the kind of leader that when I went to Grady, I brought her with me, and it was just kind of like, I don't really want to be somewhere without her. So the three of us got together, and Susan and Lucy didn't know each other, but I knew they were kindred spirits and they would love each other. And in fact, we just started meeting every week for a while. And what we were talking about, Chelsea, is that we felt like nursing leadership was more than than what was in the literature, than what people were practicing and what people were using as their guide. We felt it was more than transformational leadership, even though transformational leadership is very powerful and very important. We also thought that there were elements of servant leadership. And that was just a couple years ago. But at that time, servant leadership wasn't really what people wanted to talk about in healthcare. It's come back into its glory a little bit, but it wasn't popular just even a year and a half to 2 years ago. Authentic leadership is another component that we felt was really important. And of course, emotional intelligence, which is infused into every type of leadership. So we just started thinking about it and connected back with Tim Porter O'Grady. And I called him one night because I still had his phone number from when he was my instructor at Emory. And I said, we want to do for leadership what you did for shared governance. Will you help us? And he was like, yes, I will. So we went to lunch, and at lunch, I asked him if he would agree to be our mentor. And he said, well, yes, but just tell me what that means. And so, I said, just meet with us maybe once a quarter and let's just catch up and you help us, with our direction and clarifying what we're talking about. He did, and he does. And it's, that's been just invaluable. And again, that started way back at Emory. And when I was sitting in his class, he was teaching, that was my BSN, because he was teaching finance, which is really funny to think about because he's so futuristic, and but that's where he was. I never thought that my life would connect back with him, but anyway, so we ended up, the three of us, we have been working for a couple of years, and Lucy is an outstanding researcher. She really knows qualitative research. She really knows how to put together assessments and do the psychometric testing that goes with that. And so we started saying, we need to research this, and we want what we're doing to be evidence-based. We don't just want to think up an idea. So that's what we did. And we did a qualitative research study and used a really interesting process called constructivist grounded theory, which is, it's a methodology to develop a theory out of not only literature review and different things that you can pull together, but also hearing what other people are saying, looking for common themes there. And the interesting thing about this methodology is that the researchers, their experience can also contribute to it. Whereas in other, like in grounded theory methodology, the researcher needs to be like a blank slate and just is taking in. But in this, it's more of a collaborative process, where together you kind of put your thoughts together and you see, wow, we all were sort of thinking the same thing, but we didn't have a name for it. So that's how we came up with our theory of human-centered leadership in healthcare. And we just presented it yesterday at the Association of Leadership, Science, and Nursing, which is the scientific arm of AONL. And it was just, it was a real highlight because, here you are with professors who, have been researching for years. And one of the keynote speakers was a professor that I used all of her information when I wrote my DNP project. And so, I don't know, nursing is so fantastic. And I think when people enter nursing, they just have no idea what is ahead if they are only open to it. I don't think it's possible to really grasp how incredible it can be as a profession for every aspect of your life as you move forward and learn and grow.
That's
So
amazing. And I also hear that, you're really open and interested in learning what other nurses along your journey are interested in. And then you reach back out to them when you think, oh, I'm now
totally.
interested in um, this aspect of leadership, and I know this nurse is really great at it. I'm going to connect with them. And so then you
Exactly.
learn and then you grow together. And so learning about your peers and remembering to say, oh, well, I'm going to reach back out to them. I think that that is another incredible point to, you never know how you're going to circle back with your peers, your professors, your, people that you admire then become your friends.
It's exactly right, Chelsea. I'm sure it's like that, in other professions as well, but I don't know. I just feel like it's more so in nursing just because of the fact that nursing is it's unique in that the people who choose to be a nurse, who consider it a calling, there's a common bond. And so when you reach back out to that person that you knew 25 years ago, it's they're not going to say, who are you? I mean, they're going to say, tell me what you're doing. I'm interested in hearing what's going on. And then that's what I want to be to other people as well. And that's one reason why I'm so thrilled to be back in the nursing school. And I get to meet people like you. That's how I met you, was actually in the alumni board. And then we ended up getting a chance to teach in a course together, which is
It's so
fantastic.
fun.
It
And we
really
became
is.
fast friends,
There you go. Absolutely.
maintaining a spirit of inquiry and just opening your heart and your mind to just learning along the way. I think that's
That's exactly
amazing.
right. That's exactly right. And I think too, the thing that another thing I want to stress with the students is, yeah, with other alumni, is that I just never ever pictured that at this point in my life I would be doing something that I feel so passionate about, that truly it's not about the position, it's not about where I've climbed to, it's more about how I feel inside. It's more about meeting, um, having work that meshes completely with my passion. So it's fantastic. It really is. And, our team, Lucy, Susan, and I, it's like, wow, I get to spend hours every week with these people that I admire and love so much. And we've been spending a lot of time together because we are working on a book, and our deadline is next Wednesday. And it's going to be about human-centered leadership in healthcare. And we hope it's going to really kind of start a movement in nursing to embrace more of what nursing leadership is about, because it's about transformational, it's about servant, it's about authentic. It's all of these things. It's not one or another. It's specific to nursing, because you're leading people who are taking care of people at their most vulnerable time. And so it's a lot about taking care of yourself first and taking care of the staff and creating cultures of caring and trust and excellence, because it's with those kind of cultures that you get the outcomes that every healthcare organization is striving to meet. But you don't get those outcomes by having an initiative pushed down to the top and then someone else monitoring every staff nurse to make sure they're doing exactly what the initiative prescribed. You get it by engaging those at the bedside, those who are the true influencers and the true innovators. That's where you get the answers. And then you don't have to micromanage and monitor every step because they own the process. And
That's
that's what
amazing.
we're all about. That's what we're all about.
You're
So
really articulating the nursing perspective and really through your passion, strengthening relationships through leadership.
that's exactly right, Chelsea. You are so good at pulling those themes out like that. That's right. It's a very relationship based nursing model of leadership. Um, but I really want to mention that our tagline is it starts with you, but it's not about you. So it starts with you, meaning if you take care of yourself, if you develop self awareness, self care, self compassion, mindfulness, if you practice these things, you're going to be such a better leader. And you're a role model then for others to practice that. Because leaders at the bedside nurses, they need to practice those things as well. And we have talked about in our course this semester, that the ANA Code of Ethics says this. It tells us you've got to take care of yourself so you can take care of others. And in my generation, that was not stressed. And so I'm just really thrilled to bring that up and show people how just taking care of yourself can actually have the power to influence your culture and your patient outcomes. You think of it maybe as being more self-focused, but instead I want people to think of it as a way of influencing outward. We call it the butterfly effect. If you take care of yourself and you're become a more resilient person, that's going to impact the people that you lead and the culture that you create. And that is where we get those outcomes that every organization has to have, to be sustainable in this environment.
I think that's so important. And absolutely, the code of ethics discussing that not only is it's not just recommended self care, it is mandated. You have a duty to yourself just as you do to others. And I think that that's just so incredible that you are specifically focusing on that. And you highlighted really throughout your journey that it takes continuous practice. It's not something that as a nurse comes naturally to us to take care of ourselves, but just really reinforcing through your leadership theory how it is just absolutely necessary and it starts there.
That's exactly right, Chelsea. You really get it. And I think others are really starting to get that too, is we used to, when we heard the word self-care, and I think COVID has really helped us to recognize the impact and the significance and the absolute importance of it. But I think people thought of it almost as like a luxury. Yeah, maybe on your day off, or maybe, when you go on vacation and that kind of thing. But, it really is a daily habit. And it's not all about fun either. It's telling yourself you've got to go to bed at a certain time and turning off your screens beforehand, and, being conscious of, just your exercise and your nutrition, and just being aware of what else is going on in the world outside of yourself, connecting with those important things that replenish you. So it's also important. It's different for different people too, so I don't know. It's been important to me in these last 2 years. I would say um, I like myself better than I did 2 years ago.
That's wonderful. I think that's so important to hear. And I think that you have shared an incredible story and points for everyone, no matter if you're a student, alumni, starting your career in the, mature in your career. It's just important lesson to learn wherever you are. And I want to thank you so much for spending time with me this morning and sharing about your journey in nursing and your incredible work on leadership. And we really look forward to that book. I am sure that it is going to be a bestseller, and we'll have our eyes peeled for it. But
I
before we
just want it to be motivating for people, you know? I
Oh,
want it to feel
absolutely.
like it resonates. That's what I want.
Absolutely. Well, before we close, is there any last pearls that you want to share or?
Wow. I guess just if you are a nurse and you're watching this, I just am very excited for you and your future because you have no idea what it could hold. And just stay open and stay connected to the important relationships that you make along the way, those that really touch your heart and resonate as a kindred spirit with you. And lastly, remember it starts with you, but it's not about you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And again, we are talking with Dr. Kay Kennedy on innovation and leadership in nursing. So thank you again, Dr. Kennedy.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to talk with you.